What's going on, everyone? It's your favorite minority from the loud majority, just touching base with the base. It's me, Louis Angel Lopez. You can call me Louis. You can call me Angel. I don't give a damn. Whatever you prefer. Couple things we can talk about. Once again, more issues with the border. I mean, the border crisis thing is just not stopping. It's just getting worse and worse by the day. What's making it worse really is the Biden administration and how they're trying to continue to fight to allow these people to continue to illegally cross into our country. Okay. They're showing up to work every day and they're showing up to work every day and they're doing the exact opposite of what their job is supposed to be. I've said it several times, but that's what's pretty much happening. We got some more stuff about what's going on with Trump and his all his cases. Some stuff about Biden and how he's losing his mind, but the media won't seem to admit that he's losing his mind. For some reason, they want to keep telling us that he's perfectly fine. And then one other thing at the end, I want to talk about how they're allowing non-citizens to be elected into election committees. They're allowing illegal immigrants to be elected into election committees in San Francisco. So we're going to talk about that too. There's a video I'll refer to show everyone. But let's get right into it. So new video. There's new video surfacing that shows Middle Eastern men crossing into the border. Okay. Middle Eastern men that barely speak any English. Okay. This is how it's getting at the border now. But I mean, it's not like we haven't said that this is exactly who's crossing into our country anyway. I mean, we've said that these people were not just people coming in from Mexico, that there's people coming from all over the world going to Mexico just so they can cross into America illegally because it'd be easier to do it that way. So check this video out right here.
Bilal, why'd you come to the U.S.? Why coming to U.S.? No?
No English.
Where are you from?
From Syria.
Syria? English?
So.
Why are you coming to the U.S.? Why come?
Because we love America and we need a nice style, a nice life.
Yeah, coming for jobs?
Yeah, a nice job, a nice because our country very well.
What's your name?
Done.
Danny. Good luck.
Thank you.
Where are you from?
I'm Syria.
Syria? What's your name?
Ahmed.
Ahmed?
Ahmed.
Same question. Why do you come to the U.S.?
Español or
Where are you from? Where are you from?
So
Syria.
as you can see, a bunch of people coming from somewhere that we have no idea. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from all over the place. Okay. No clue as to who their affiliation is to or who their loyalty is to. I mean, it's definitely not to us. Now you got to keep in mind, a lot of these people are coming from places where, you know, their attitude towards the United States of America is very negative. Okay. These are considered hostile territories and hostile nations. Okay. They don't look at us in a nice light. They look at us as enemies. So I'm not going to say that everybody over there thinks that way, but overall, that is the general consensus in some of these places in the Middle East, that they just don't like America or Americans. Now, are we getting the good guys from there, or are we getting the ones that don't like us? We have no idea, okay? No clue. And they're coming in daily, okay? Every day. They're coming in every day, okay? Now, this issue, you know, is so bad that even a former Obama FBI official named Tim Healy says that the terror watch list number is over 10 times what used to worry him while he was in office. Okay, so there's people in the Obama from the Obama administration that's admitting that this is bad. Okay, this is terrible, and that people are not prepared for just how bad this thing can actually really get in a short period of time, which it will eventually. Okay, now, you know, the dangers of these things are starting to, they're starting to segue into other places. Okay, we'll get into that too, but it's pretty crazy about how this is all playing out and how this is just being allowed to happen. Okay. Now, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, has announced the construction of an 80-acre military facility along the Rio Grande and Eagle Pass, which will house 2,300 soldiers.
Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I'm joined by General Seltzer and the Board Czar, Mike Banks. I want to explain to you what Texas is doing at this time to expand our border security capabilities. We are building a new Texas Military Department base camp that allows the Texas National Guard to increase and to improve operations in this area. What you see now is the first stage of construction has already begun on what is 80 acres of an area to be built out for this base camp. From your camera view, it goes all the way down the edge of here to those trees, all the way to the back, close to where the river is. On this side, just back behind you, about 50 feet is where it stops. This will increase the ability for a larger number of Texas Military Department personnel in Eagle Pass to operate more effectively and more efficiently. Just back behind.
So they're getting ready to build that wall. Okay, well, not a wall. They're gonna build that facility, over 80 acres. I think it's a good thing. I mean, I think that Texas should continue to do everything necessary within its power to protect its border, since the Biden administration and the federal government has completely abandoned their jobs. I mean, literally, they've pretty much left Texas to fend for themselves. At the same time, telling them, no, you shouldn't be allowed to actually protect yourself. Just let it run rampant. Does that make any sense? It's like you owning a store and thieves keep coming in, and the government is just like, just let them keep coming in and keep stealing, man. It's like, but how am I supposed to survive? How am I supposed to manage this? Well, if I'm just going to allow people to keep breaking the law, where I'm the one that suffers, which we all suffer in this border crisis, because it does have a strain on the economy, whether people like to admit it or not. Okay, it does, and there's plenty of studies you can look into that'll prove that to you. But it's true. Okay. Now, these crossings are starting to have effects far outside of Texas. Okay. Now that the governor, Abbott, of Texas, is shipping them all into New York City and in Chicago and all these different places, they're starting to see the effects of this everywhere. The border crisis in Texas is having effects all across America. Okay. Now that the governor sends them deep into the country, everyone is starting to feel the pain. Everyone is starting to realize exactly how bad this really is. Okay. Here it says, NYC's homeless shelter population surges 53% during the migrant crisis. 53%. Right? Here we go. NYC homeless shelter population surges 53% during migrant crisis, mayor's report. I don't even want to listen to him talk. The number of homeless people in New York City shelter system skyrocketed 53% over the past year, driven by unrelenting surge of migrants, according to Mayor Eric Adams' preliminary management report released Tuesday. The report, this is a while back. I'm assuming this is not this article wasn't released like within the last couple of days. I'm assuming this was a little while back, maybe a couple months. It says the report compares data and performance of city agencies for the first 4 months of the fiscal year, July through October of 2023, for the same period in 2022. During the first 4 months of fiscal 2024, the average number of individuals in shelters per day increased by 53% compared to the same period in fiscal 2023, driven by the unprecedented increase in primarily asylum seekers who made up over a half of all the entrants during the period. The Department of Homeless Services said its quarterly assessment of the shelter system included in the 432-page report. There was an average of 83,985 people in city-run shelters per day during the quarterly period compared to 54,738 individuals in 2022. The flow of asylum seekers to New York City drove a 147% increase in entries to shelter for families with children and a 185% increase in entries to shelter for adult families, the report said. So these people are obviously having a major effect on the systems that are put in place for people in cities like New York City. Obviously in places like Chicago, these things are starting to happen as well. Places like LA. Pretty much in all these major cities. In Boston, I recently seen a video of Boston that they basically kicked the local homeless people out of the shelter and gave the entire shelter to the illegal migrants that were in town. There was a video of a man shouting, and he was pretty upset, arguing with the police officers that were guarding, pretty much barricading the doors, and he was arguing with them. And all the police officer could say was, "I hear you, man. I hear you." But that doesn't help this man have some place to stay at the end of the night. He is a U.S. citizen. He is a citizen of the city, so he should be put first. You can have your feelings towards homeless people and things like that, but the truth is, if we're gonna have these systems in place, they should be in place to help American people. Now, he was a Black American, of course, but what I'm saying is, these systems are put in place to help Americans. Period. Not foreigners. So when you start kicking Americans out in place of foreigners, you're going to create a very hostile environment. And it's almost like it's being done on purpose. Because I just don't see how they can keep doing this and keep doing this to their own citizens and not think that their own citizens are going to be upset about it. I mean, that just really doesn't make sense, right? Now, in light of all these things going on with all this migrant overflow and with people feeling like they're taking over, they're moving into our neighborhoods, and things like that, and getting the help that was meant for, the less fortunate in America, the less fortunate American citizens. The mayor, Eric Adams of New York City, reverses his plans to give luxury condos to illegals after public outcry. So he's changed his mind. He's no longer going to do that. I'm assuming that the pressure is on him. So he's looking, he's not looking to add any more pressure to himself, I would assume. But it is what it is. It says here, look. There we go. Let me move this. Mayor Eric Adams has reversed the plan to give an abandoned luxury Harlem condominium complex to migrants after significant community outcry. Adams' change of heart came during a surprise appearance at a St. Nicholas House Resident Association meeting packed with dozens of residents furious over the city's plans for a building development on Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard, once marketed as upscale housing, reported the New York Post. The 35-story building was quietly slated to become a homeless shelter that could potentially house migrants. A plan that was only revealed to the community this week when some residents saw workers bring in bed frames and mattresses inside, it added. Adams finally turned his plan around last Thursday night after public pressure. So they're putting the pressure on him. I told the team, find out what's going on here. We're not moving folks into a brand new building when you have long-term needs in the community. That's not going to happen, Adams said. You will not have migrants and asylum seekers in that property. The site will instead house New York families dealing with homelessness. Okay, well, seems as if he felt the pressure a little bit and decided, okay, I'm gonna listen to my voters and my constituents, and I'm gonna finally do right by people that put me in the place that I am, and I'm gonna put them first. Now, do you think that he's doing that because he genuinely feels like that's what he's supposed to do, or do you think he's only doing it because they put the pressure on him, and at the end of the day, they're gonna do whatever they feel keeps their approval ratings high and helps them get elected come the next election? Okay. They can understand messaging. They can understand when something is not working for them, and they can easily turn the tide. Okay. But you have to watch out and make sure that it's genuine, which I don't think it is, because if any of this was genuine at this point, he would have stopped allowing these migrants to come to New York City by now. Okay. And I'm not saying, oh, keep them in Texas, send them somewhere else. I don't want them neither. Same way Texas decide they don't want them, I don't want them either. Get more mayors, more governors of these states, more mayors of these major cities to say, I don't want these people, send them back. We start getting more of that, and we might make a real change in this whole situation. But the problem is, a lot of these people don't have a backbone. I mean, once again, I'm going to dig back into my conspiracy brain. What happened to those cases that were those allegations against Mayor Eric Adams about his campaign finances, about an alleged sexual assault? All those two things came the moment he started mouthing off about how he didn't want these migrants to come to New York City and how it was straining the system, and he couldn't sustain it anymore. Once he started publicly speaking about this and complaining, all of a sudden there was these allegations of these crimes he committed. Then once he changed up the messaging and started to say, fine, well, we'll continue to let the migrants come, it seems as if those cases or those allegations just went away. Now, you can call me what you want, call me a conspiracy theorist, call me whatever you want. But personally, deep down inside, I feel like there's a way bigger plot here, and there are a lot of key players in it, and a lot of people are being told to allow these things to happen, or else. Okay? Or else. And that's my personal take on it. That's how I feel. Okay? You can call it crazy, you can call it what you want. But that's what it seems like to me. All right? So, and I'm gonna call it like I see it. I don't care how people look at it, I don't care how people take it. It's looking like there's some shady-ish going on, and they got a lot of people by the balls. And it's, you're gonna do what we say or else, or we're gonna flip your world upside down. You're gonna lose your cozy little spot, you're gonna lose your fancy little job, and who knows what may happen to you after all that, right? So, I don't know. But with no place to go and no promise of housing or anything like that, illegals are happy to stay with strangers that are going to welcome them into their homes. But there's a catch. There's always a catch, right? And what we have here. Holy schlit, they found a way to bring back slavery and make it woke.
Just against refugees, mostly because people don't know them. Lisa says she feels like she has her own personal chef, as Wildande loves cooking. It's white, and it's really fun having them. What I realized is there's so much prejudice against refugees, mostly because people don't know them. Lisa says she feels like she has her own personal chef, as Wildande loves cooking. It's white, and
One more time.
fun having them. What I realized is there's so much prejudice against refugees, mostly because people don't know them. Lisa says she feels like she has her own personal chef, as Wildande loves cooking. It's white, and it's really fun having them.
Bro, they brought back slavery and made it woke. Now, this is the Democratic Party, okay, who started the KKK, okay, who wanted to keep them slaves. Listen, man, you gotta see things for what they are. Now, yeah, you can say that this is a stretch. You can say that this is a little of a reach. You can say, oh, come on now, slavery, really? Obviously not. But what we're saying is It's just very ironic, isn't it? It's very ironic. Sure, you can stay. If you just don't mind cleaning up after us, cooking our dinner, washing our clothes, cleaning up the house, tidying up around here while we're not home, when we're not home, making sure everything is pristine for us by the time we get home from our very long work day. And we've built a nice little corner for you in the basement where you can sleep down there with your 3 kids. And you guys can have 3 meals a day. And if you're lucky, there'll be snacks. It's kind of weird, no? I find it kind of strange. I mean, call me what you want to call me. Once again, like I said, call me the conspiracy theorist, call me whatever you want. Okay? But I just find it kind of strange, no? Nobody finds that weird a little bit? I find that shit kind of weird, man. Like it's real life given slave and slave owner. I know it's a reach. It's a reach. I get it. I get it. But think about it. Think about how many people are gonna be like, I could get some free work out of these people. I can get pretty much a maid out of this situation, huh? And with no hopes of them ever really flourishing and making a way out of there, out of that position, it's almost as if they got a forever maid. Think about it. I feed you forever. You don't got to do nothing. All you got to do is clean up after me and cook my meals, wash my clothes, wash my drawers. Think about it. Think about that. That's weird. No? I find that strange. I find that a bit strange. But I guess whatever works for people, people are desperate. So people are going to do what they feel like they have to do. If they have no place to go, it's very cold out, depending on where you are. If you're lucky enough to end up someplace like Miami or someplace where it's hot all year round, not saying that sleeping out on the streets makes it is a good situation for anyone, but you're better off sleeping on the streets in a place like Miami than in a place like New York in the middle of the winter. You know what I mean? That's just the truth. So, people are gonna do what they feel like they have to do, and these people not it's not like all these people are coming here to commit crimes, you know what I mean? It's not like all these people are coming here to do bad things. It's just that they've committed a crime in getting here. They've cheated the system. They've completely found their way around the process. When there were people in the same situations as them who have actually gone through the proper channels and done the process the right way, took the long years that it took to do so, the amounts of money that it took them to do so, and they just skipped. Like, you can ask a lot of they just skip that. You can ask a lot of people that have legally migrated to the United States how they feel about these people breaking in and just skipping that process, and a lot of them don't like it. They're saying that's not fair. I had to go through this. I had to go through that. And for all these people to just skip that process and get, favored over American citizens, they don't like it. You have to think about the time that it took these people and the money that it took them. This process, it's a very long process. So all the money and time that it took them to make it happen, and they're watching people skip that entire process, and they don't like that. They're not happy about that at all. They can be of the same nationality. They're not happy about it. They feel like they had to go through the proper channels. They had to do the process. Everybody else should have to do it as well. But once again, like I said, not all the people coming here are coming to do illegal things. They're not coming here to commit crimes. A lot of them are coming here for a better life. But the crime, it kind of can't be ignored. The crime cannot be ignored. There's a lot of it. I mean, we've seen, what's happening in New York. The string of violence like this right here. NYPD officers assaulted by illegals who have disrespected our immigration laws and now being protected by sanctuary cities. Enough is enough. These people are not respecting American law. NYPD officers were assisting an individual on Randall's Island at the migrant shelter when they were attacked by a mob of people. Let's take a look at this. There was a video in the I think it was a video not too long ago out of the same shelter where it was a similar situation. I guess they were there to arrest someone, and the rest of the migrants there, they didn't like that. So they're all getting involved now. And they're like, you know, we're not going to stand by and watch you do this to one of our fellow illegals. Tension between the NYPD and these illegal migrants continue to grow. Very unsafe situation. You're surrounded. And this is where it gets hectic. Check it out. They're going to start throwing things. See? Wow. A whole book bag to the face. Crazy. And YPD needs to stand up against this, man. They need to stand up against Mayor Eric Adams and tell him to stop allowing these people to come into the city. This has become an unsustainable situation for everyone. Wow. Insane. Crazy. This is what New York City is allowing. This is what they voted for, though, you know? Unfortunately. They're helpless. They have no control over the situation. None whatsoever. Cops, security. I mean, you can see just how tense things are getting. Like the tension between NYPD and the migrant mobs continues to grow. Okay. Even the most anti-cop activists have come out against these illegals attacking cops. Okay. And citizens. They're realizing that everybody's in danger. Okay. Everyone. Okay. The cops, everyday citizens, everybody's in danger. One thing is very clear. Okay. When people are when people are not afraid to attack cops and law enforcement on camera, on videos, you know, in large mobs with their face out and they don't care. They're clearly not afraid to attack anyone. Okay, they're not afraid to attack your mother, your father, your brother, your sister. They're not afraid to attack anyone if they feel like they need to, if they feel like it's necessary. So everyone's starting to realize what's going on here, but it's a little too late because the problem is there's so many of them here now. It's going to be a very, very long and difficult process to try and remove these people. Like, I'm confident Trump is going to do his very best to remove a lot of them, but a lot of them will still be here. And as he's removing a lot of them and going to get more, some of those ones he removed already will be making their way right back in. Maybe. I mean, Trump was tough on the border, so very good possibility a lot of them won't make it back over. A lot of them are making it back over now. They get deported and they come right back over because we have weak presidents when it comes to the border. When it comes to the United States border, we have a lot of weak presidents. Donald Trump was the strongest when it came to the border crisis. So, I don't know, man. We'll see what happens, but you know, election year is heating up. Election year is heating up something crazy, something serious, and it's only February, man. Okay. It's only February. Things are gonna get crazy as we get closer to November. Okay, crazy. But we're gonna segue into something else now. Okay, as bad as the border is, as bad as the border is, there's only one man that can do the job, and that man is Donald Trump. I am 100% convinced. Okay, despite all the attacks, despite everything going on, despite the fact that they're trying to bankrupt him, they're trying to throw him in jail for 900 years or some crazy number. I feel like he's the only person that can actually come in and do anything about any of this. Okay. And the truth is, he can do it. They don't want him to do it, which is why they'll do everything in their power to stop him from ever regaining control and regaining power and regaining the White House. They know once Donald Trump gets back in office, their days are numbered. Everything that they've allowed is documented. Everything that they've allowed is there, laid bare for all of us to see. And this is why they don't want him to have any more power, because they've committed so many crimes within these last 4 years. And we now know that presidents don't have immunity for the crimes they commit while being the president of the United States. That means every president, not just Trump. That means Joe Biden now. That means Obama. That means you no longer have immunity for the things you've done as president. Has Trump been found guilty of anything yet? No. He can very well beat the charges. And there goes that. So now Trump was recently ordered to pay close to $450 million in a fraud case where he's accused of overvaluing his Mar-a-Lago property. Now, his lawyer has recently confirmed that he will post the money for the bond. Okay, so he's going to post the $450 million, I'm guessing, and that works as a bond. I'm assuming. Now, what he's being accused of and what he's being made liable to pay $450 million for is something that has been noted as a common practice in real estate. Okay, by some of one of the world's largest, I guess, real estate developers, Kevin O'Leary. I'm going to play a video in a second where he breaks it down and he says about how this doesn't make sense. Okay, that nothing out of the ordinary was done, and no bank has accused Trump of defrauding them. In fact, the bank that they're claiming he defrauded, the bank themselves has said no, he hasn't defrauded us. In fact, we'd love to work with him again, because nothing that he did was out of ordinary. Okay? They've created a set of special circumstances to go after Donald Trump so they can try to stop him from running in the 2024 election. It's just that simple. Okay? Here's a video of Kevin O'Leary. Kevin O'Leary is one of the biggest real estate developers in the country. Okay? This is him talking about how he'll never invest in NYC ever again after the Trump ruling. Okay? One moment. Got a lot of tabs open, so things are kind of running a little slow.
Mistake number one, not quantum.
We've got Kevin O'Leary back with us, O'Leary Ventures Chairman, Shark Tank investor. You know, Kevin, you had mentioned, and it was a very profound kind of comment, that, you know, some of these other businesses do have right to be concerned, whether they like Donald Trump or not. Maybe you can elaborate on that.
This affects everybody, not just Trump.
Well, this award, I mean, just leaving the whole Trump thing out of it and seeing what occurred here, and I'm no different than any other investor. I'm shocked at this. I can't even understand or fathom the decision at all. There's no rationale for it. And so, but let me give you a real-time experience I'm having regarding this, and I'm not the only one. It doesn't matter what the governor says. New York was already a loser state. Like California is a loser state. There are many loser states because of policy, high taxes, uncompetitive regulation. It was already on the top of the list of being a loser state.
Democrat ran cities.
Invest in New York now, and I'm not the only person saying that. And here's a real
Communist, socialist hellholes.
real estate right now. The hottest asset class is very high-end data centers. They cost anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 billion each. They're very expensive. They require low power. You need permits, but most of the major institutions in the world need more data centers, and that's why developers like me are doing this. Now, you need power. So New York has Niagara Falls. Normally, you'd consider that to put in one of these facilities, create 400 jobs, 5 more jobs for each of one of those for auxiliary services. I can't go to New York. So I'm going to Oklahoma, North Dakota, West Virginia. Governor Stitt, Kevin Stitt, my staff have met with him.
Taking business out of town, man. New Yorkers weren't going to run themselves into a fucking problem
Things like this.
if they continue to go after Trump.
That debt and all that equity, we're talking billions of dollars here. Do you think any foreign institution or any private equity firm or any pension fund would touch New York? No, and that's why New Yorkers should be concerned. The fine people of New York should ask themselves, why are we such a loser state? How are we going to attract business? It's not just the existing businesses that are fleeing out to Texas and Florida. What about new money like this that I'm talking about, like a $4 billion data center? Not a chance I would put that in New York. Zero probability, never. And so they've got a lot of work to do to find themselves getting out of this situation. This has all occurred post-pandemic. Winner states versus loser states.
Wow.
Look at Tennessee right now, fastest growing city in America, Nashville.
New York City is a loser state.
Competitive taxes. You've got to start thinking about this in the context of winners and losers. New York, mega loser state.
Wow. Now that's one of the biggest real estate developers in the country. Okay. Basically saying that New York is literally shooting themselves in the foot by doing this to Trump. Saying that what they're doing doesn't even make sense. The fact that they're doing it doesn't make sense. Okay. Now, and what they're doing is scaring other businesses. Because what Trump did was not against the law. What Trump did was something that all real estate developers do. So now other real estate developers are looking, are we next? If we vote differently than you, if we have different beliefs than you, are we next? And they have every right to be concerned. So what, do you think they're going to take the risk? No, they're not going to take the risk. They're going to go somewhere else. Now, on top of that situation, you got Truckers for Trump threatening to strike on deliveries to New York City over Trump fraud ruling. Trump support and repost the video. Okay. Now let's check out the video. Because I watched this video now. These truckers are threatening to not go into New York City to deliver anything. Food, merchandise, goods, whatever. Everyday items, they're threatening to just say, nope, we're not going into New York City. Figure it out. Okay, you guys want to keep going at Trump? You want to keep attacking him when we know what you're doing? This is our way of fighting back. We're not going to deliver nothing to y'all. Get y'all shit in order, and then maybe we'll talk about delivering to y'all. Now, this video was posted I think about 2-3 days ago, and it's gotten so big that even Trump reposted it. Now, that's major when you realize how many people follow Trump on his social sites. Okay. And now this also wasn't the only video. The one I'm going to show you now, this isn't the only video. There's other videos of other people saying the same thing.
Hey, folks, you're all past Chicago Ray.
Chicago Ray.
I've been on the radio talking to drivers for about the last hour 15 minutes. And I'm talking to at least 10 drivers going the other way. I'm heading down from South Wisconsin. And, they're gonna start refusing loads in New York City starting on Monday.
So start on Monday. That was yesterday. Today's Tuesday.
I got.
So
about
starting
3
yesterday.
They already back the boss, told them they ain't going to New York City.
Hmm.
So I don't know how far across the country this is, or how many truckers are gonna start denying loans to go to New York City. But I'll tell you what, you fuck around and find out.
You
Okay.
fuck around and find out.
Like this fucking Trump. Okay? You know, motherfuckers starting to get tired of this shit. And you know, our bosses ain't gonna care if we deny the load. We'll just go somewhere else.
Just go somewhere else.
All right?
As long as goods is getting delivered, they don't care where they're getting delivered to.
Man, fuck that. All right?
You know how hard it is to get into New York City with one of these motherfuckers? That's what he said. Do you know how hard it is to get into New York City with one of these motherfuckers? I would have to assume, like, after 9/11, that, like, to get into New York City with something like a big rig like that, it's probably not easy. Probably a fucking hassle. It's probably very, very complicated to get into New York City with something like that. After 9/11, the way the city's security has increased and the way that they're very skeptical about anything coming into New York City. So for a lot of these truckers, they're like, huh, you ain't telling me nothing. I don't gotta go to New York. Thank God. Fucking hate going to New York. It's probably already a hassle for them to go to New York City anyway. Now, do I think that all, you know, a lot of truckers throughout the whole country are going to take this on? Obviously not. But if you get a decent amount of them, I mean, like I said, this video got put out and it blew up, man. It blew up overnight. So big that Trump even reposted it on his social sites. So, you know, that's millions of people that saw that. And that's not the only video. That's not the only one. There's other videos of people saying this too, of other truckers saying that they're going to strike on New York City. Now, the truckers are the backbone of America, man. I mean, the stuff in your store doesn't grow from the ground in the store. The things on the shelves don't just magically appear there. They're brought there by people who drive trucks, who drive these big, massive, big rigs, okay, with these huge trailers attached to the back of them with all your goods inside, okay? They stop showing up to the stores to deliver your goods, you're asked out. You're gonna have to travel outside the city to get everyday things that you used to get from the store right up the street. And yeah, you may say, "Oh, well, that's no big deal." We'll see if it's no big deal if if you're forced to do it for a long time. Okay, maybe the first week or two, no big deal, but if you're forced to do it for a couple months, it could become a problem. Okay, it could become a little time consuming for you. So, you know, they're saying the boycott, it could raise prices on goods in the supermarkets and big box stores in NYC who rely on these truckers for the goods. Okay. So everyday items could start to skyrocket. When you have less things on the shelf, you got to sell them for more. So, you know, it could raise prices on all the goods. You know, the supermarkets and the big box stores will be hit hardest. So, you know, this has a lot of negative effects if these guys decide that they don't want to deliver to New York City anymore. It does. Now, these truckers, they all believe that these cases against Trump are political. You know, they're upset and they believe that all these cases against Trump are just political and are just election interference. Okay. A lot of these truckers are pro-Trump. They're a hardworking class of people. They are pro-Trump and they see the writing on the wall. They see these things for exactly what they are. And they've decided this is how we can fight back. And if they get serious and they get organized enough, you better believe, man, that they can cause a very, very big disruption to the system, to the everyday life of New Yorkers. Could be a big problem. Okay. Now, in light of all this happening, and you know, the truckers getting upset, you have the governor of New York City now, I'm assuming maybe being a little shook up from some of these threats from these truckers and from these business owners being a little shook about what they did to Trump. You know, you got the governor of NY, what's her name, Kathy Hochul. She assures businesses they won't face any consequences for doing the same thing Trump has done because she claims Trump's case is a special case. So you don't have to worry, okay? If you did the same thing as Trump, don't worry. We're only coming after Trump because he's crossed the line. He's gone too far. And we just really, really don't like him. So we have to come at him any way we can. But you don't worry. Don't worry. It's okay. Now, do you think that a lot of these businesses are going to take that risk? They're going to say, oh, sure, no problem. If you say so, yeah, I'll believe you. I trust you. You're politically motivated, but I trust your word. You know, you're not operating morally, but I trust your word. No big deal. No, a lot of these businesses are not going to take that risk. They're going to go somewhere else where they don't have to be worried about these things, where they don't have to sit around and think that just because they voted differently than the governor or the attorney general or the district attorney, that they're going to suffer some sort of consequences for that, that their business is going to suffer some sort of consequences for that. Now, back to this video, we talk about how the governor, her words mean nothing. Okay, the governor of New York, your words mean nothing. You can try to assure these businesses that there's nothing that's going to happen to them all you want, but the truth is, a lot of them are not going to believe you.
It's like a unique one and done because Donald Trump went too far and was so nefarious. You guys, if you're just doing what you should be doing, you have nothing to worry about, but they're very worried about.
Yeah, we're very worried. Every investor's worried because where is the victim? Who lost money? This is some arbitrary decision a judge made. This policy and what this says, what does this say about the bar, the legal bar in New York? Aren't they going to question this judge? What is this? $355 million and there's dollars as a penalty and there's plus interest at 9% and there's no victim?
No victim.
I mean,
who does the money go
absolutely.
to?
Her words fall on deaf
The
ears.
government.
Everybody. There's nothing she can say to justify this decision. And this has nothing to do with Trump. Nothing to do with Trump. Forget about Trump. This is not a Trump situation. This is a New York problem now. The whole world is looking at this saying, what are you doing to yourselves?
New York is literally tearing down their entire framework, their entire system. The exact thing that built the entire New York City skyline, the reason that there's skyscrapers in New York City right now, they're putting that under a microscope now. That is what's under attack pretty much now. The very foundation of New York City is under attack. All because they want to go at Trump. All because they want to go at Trump. Like, come on. They're going to run a lot of these real estate investors and businesses and developers right out of New York City. Okay? The very thing that built the skyline. The people in charge of New York City are doing a terrible job. Okay? Incompetent leadership. Okay? They all need to be fired today, immediately. They shouldn't have their positions for one more second. Okay, they have completely ran New York City into the ground, and now, crime-wise, they ran it into the ground. Crime-wise, they've turned misdemeanors to felonies. They've turned felonies to misdemeanors. They've arrested people for defending people's lives. They've let criminals out for rape, assaults on police officers. They get to walk freely, no bond. And now they're coming after the very thing that has built New York City. They need to be gone. They need to be gone. Do you feel safe in New York? These people are incompetent as hell. Okay? They're not just bad at their jobs. They're fucking terrible at their jobs. And they need to be punished for it. They don't even need to just be fired. They need to be punished for their incompetent leadership. All of them, top to bottom. Every last one of them. But New Yorkers will continue to vote the way that they vote. New Yorkers will continue to think that the boogeyman is the Republican Party, and no matter what, they have to vote blue no matter who. And well, they'll continue to repeat the cycle over and over. But it is what it is, man. Despite all this shit, though, man, with all these attacks on Trump, everything that they're doing, like, the man continues to fight on, bro. Like, honestly, if I was facing all this shit, if I was a billionaire, I wouldn't even be trying to run for the office of the White House. I'd literally go sit on the beach and bang supermodels. Now, I'd bang my wife, but what I'm saying is, this man has enough money to go live a lifestyle that he doesn't need to do any of this. Okay, he can go live on a beach. He can go enjoy the rest of his life. He doesn't have to do any of this, but he continues to do it. And the truth is, most of us know that if he wasn't running for office, none of these charges would even be a thing. These things wouldn't even be happening. He wouldn't be charged with all these crimes. That's why they waited till an election year. I mean, you don't think that it's odd that they waited till right after he announced he was going to run for president to start bringing all these charges? He's been out of office for, he was out of office for 2.5 years, maybe 3 before he announced that he was running. Those 3 years, they didn't charge him with one crime. Right after he said he was running for office of the president, running for the presidency again, they decided, oh, let's charge him with more crimes. Let's charge him with crimes now. That'll put a damper in his campaign. That'll make it hard for him to campaign. We'll tie him up, wrap him up in a bunch of court cases. So instead of him being on the campaign trail, traveling from this state to that state, like he was doing for the last 2 campaigns where he was all over the place, instead, we'll tie him up and have him in a bunch of court cases where he can't do any of that. Which, if you ask me, it's not going to diminish any of his support. I don't believe it. I don't think it's going to take any support away from him. He can campaign from right outside the courthouse. Okay? All he needs is a camera. And he can get his message out. And people are going to watch. People are going to listen. His supporters are not going to be turned off. His diehard supporters are not going to be turned off by any of this. If anything, this is just making their support for him more real. So, the media has completely miscalculated this. They didn't realize just how much this was going to backfire on them and how much support Trump would get out of all this. Okay. His support has shot up through the roof, even in communities and places they didn't think that he would, places that they thought that he was suffering. He's getting more support. And that frightens them. So despite all these attacks and him still having to deal with all this shit, bro is showing very little fatigue, okay? The guy attended SneakerCon, okay, and unveiled a new Trump sneaker priced at $400 a pair and limited to 1,000 pairs. Take a look at this shit, man. This guy's different, bro. He's built different. I'm sorry, he just is. They tried to say that he came out here and that there was some booze and a few cheers. I hear none of the cheers. The media is like, oh, it was mostly booze and a few cheers. I hear a lot of cheers. I don't know. I hear a little bit of booing. I'm not going to lie. But for the most part, I hear a lot of cheers. Look at that. Listen. Look at those gold sneakers, bro. Listen, bro, even the most anti-Trump people, like not like the super duper ones that are very political and very, very into politics that are anti-Trumpers, not them. But most of the people who just claim they don't like Trump because of the things that they've heard and stuff like that, 9 times out of 10, if they're somewhere like SneakerCon or they're in like a UFC fight and Trump walks in the building and you're having a good time and you're raging with you're with your friends, you're having a good time and y'all zoning out, y'all vibing out. And that man walks out and the crowd goes crazy and you got a beer in your hand, you're most likely gonna vibe out with everybody in there too and cheer. I mean, come on. Let's be for real here. I really get that feeling that that's what most people do. Maybe I could be wrong, but I got a feeling that's what most people do. Okay. He got this thing, man. He has the thing. Like he has the it factor. Like wherever he walks into a room, he just turns it up, man. He turns it up for real. Now, the fact that he's doing this now and launching these shoes, and as he's facing all these cases and stuff, you gotta love it because you gotta know he's gonna use some of that money to pay off some of these fines, right? I mean, why not? If you get fined, just go make a little bit of money, write your check, here you go. Ain't got to think about it. And the left, they're going nuts about all these cases and all these rulings that are making him have to pay. The E. Jean case, 83 million. The fraud case, 450 million. They're loving it. They're loving it. Oh yeah, we're gonna take all this money. But just announced, I believe this was like yesterday, I caught on to this. Trump will make $4 billion after Truth Social deal approved. Check this shit out, man. This guy don't stop winning. He don't stop winning. $4 billion? That's crazy. Well,
we have this story from Fortune.com. SEC greenlights Trump's Truth Social public offering. Donald Trump's Truth Social is poised to make its Wall Street debut after the SEC finally cleared a controversial merger that was delayed for years as regulators conducted a thorough inquiry. The SEC has cleared the merger of Trump Media and Technology Group, which owns Truth Social, and Digital World Acquisition Corp, DWAC, a SPAC, which is a special purpose acquisition company, which plans to bring the company public. That could give Trump a sizable ownership stake in the company. Trump is set to own roughly 79 million shares of the company, valued at $49.50 per share.
Wow.
Which basically gives Trump $4 billion.
Wow.
I would love it. I would love it. That's a B. Okay.
That's a
If
B.
Donald Trump,
I love
this
that.
Billion.
goes through, and then he shaves off 7 or 8% and says, "What was that in New York? I owed you how much? Let me write you a check. Get the out of here."
That'd be lit.
That's it.
Just puts it in.
That would be fucking lit, bro. I'm not even gonna lie, that'd be so lit. Because it would melt the left. Like you didn't hurt him at all. You didn't hurt him at all. Which is their goal, because that's their goal. Their goal is to hurt him. Their goal is to hurt his finances, hurt his chance of becoming elected as president again, and throw him in prison. That's their goal. So for him to make $4 billion and here's your little 83 million or your 450 million, whatever, however much, probably total to around 700 million, maybe 600 million, maybe. There you go. There's a check. And on with his life. That'll melt the left. Oh man. The liberal tears will be delicious.
Grow and then also appeals and get.
It would be funnier if you just gave him DWAC's shares.
Right.
If you was like,
here you
I'll
go.
give you 7 million shares in DWAC, which would cover the costs, and then they're sitting there holding DWAC shares like,
I don't know what
okay,
that is.
guys, what do you do? So, wow.
Back to what Phil was saying though about private property rights, that's how you destroy a country. It's what you call like the slippery slope, right? Like we're not all the way, we're not the Soviet Union or Venezuela, but that's how it starts, right? And like the second people think that their property's not safe, that they can kick you out of your business, and they're doing it for political reasons. We're on the road to that.
And
That's true.
that's a great point. And the problem isn't the government. As much as the government is carrying this out,
It's us.
it's that the society we live in is accepting this.
Yep.
Because
Right.
That's
if
true.
society accepts it,
But
then-
society is accepting all kinds of totally wackadoo nonsense.
hopefully people, I hope that people are waking up.
we accepted a whole-
I feel like there are people that have started to realize.
We accepted
what's
a
going on.
whole
I
lot of
feel
weird
like-
shit.
I don't
during
feel like
COVID,
the
yeah, we
tide
did.
is turning, but I feel like there are
I
people
think-
waking up that are saying, that are saying that they notice stuff and that the people that have been saying this is bad are not crazy. They're like, wait a minute. Maybe the conservatives and the libertarians and the people that are talking about classical liberalism, maybe they're not crazy. Maybe it is bad to have LGBT stuff in this.
I'm definitely not crazy. Definitely not crazy. I'm trying to tell people what the hell was gonna happen for so long. Got called a lot of names, a lot, but not crazy. Not at all. Far from it. Just did a lot of reading. I remember people used to be like, "Oh, what are you learning from YouTube? You think you're smart?" It's like, yo, you can learn a lot. Like, I mean, you can learn a lot of things off the internet. I mean, that's the whole point of this thing, right? So we can learn things. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, we're not crazy. Even the most, you know, sane-minded people are starting to like they're starting to see things and connect the dots. They're starting to see things for what they are and why they're being done and who they're being done to. And it ties into this bigger conspiracy that we've always had since we were kids, especially in my communities, that the government is just out to get us all. And that was always the general consensus in my community, regardless. But now it's on a much more broader scale and a much more it's much more authentic now because as adults now we can see exactly how they're out to get us in every way. Okay, we see it through our paychecks. We see it through our expenses. We see it through our grocery shopping. We see it through our gas prices. We see it in every way, shape, or form now that we're adults who have to foot the bill for things on our own. Okay, that's what they say. Most people are not a conservative, or Republican, technically, leaning person until they're an adult. When you're a child, it's kind of like when you're a child, you're young, wild, radical, and you think everything, the world revolves around you, and everybody's supposed to just give you whatever you ask for. And then as an adult, you grow up and realize that nobody's just going to give you anything, and that you have to work for the things you want, that you have to save your money for a rainy day, and that turns you into kind of a conservative in a way, especially when you have kids. Your lifestyle becomes very, very different than when you were younger and you didn't. So, but with all these cases against Trump, falling apart pretty much, you got the Fulton County case with Fannie Willis admitting under oath that she kept campaign cash. That thing is falling apart. That's a complete circus. The secret documents case, that's now pretty much politically one-sided because now they let Biden off the hook when they admitted he committed a crime, but they just can't charge him because he's too old and senile. So that's politically one-sided now. It looks terrible for optics and will most likely go to a Supreme Court if Trump is convicted on that case. That'll probably end up in the Supreme Court's hand and get overturned because it's clear that they've been one-sided. Joe Biden did the same thing and they let him off the hook. Okay. The January 6th case really doesn't even make sense because they've already tried to impeach him for it twice. Well, no, they tried to impeach him for it once. He was impeached twice before, one for a different reason, but one of them was for the January 6th issue, and he beat that. So you can't just all of a sudden say, well, we're going to charge you for it again. So that'll most likely end up in the Supreme Court's hands and get overturned if he's convicted. You have the criminal court case involving Stormy Daniels that's going to start in March when it's already been confirmed that now she has to pay him money for defamation. So that doesn't even make sense. How is he still being charged with a crime for that when she's already defamed them and she's had to pay him money? Doesn't that imply that she's lying about the entire thing? That doesn't make any sense. And then you have the Eugene Carroll case, where she won with absolutely no evidence. Basically just went up and said, you did this to me. And everybody said, yeah, he did. And it's like, where's the evidence? There is none. You did it. Pay her. So all these things make the government look politically motivated, even to the most common voter who isn't really as deep into all these things as a lot of us are, even to them, it's starting to look like, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Like, did he really do all of this? Like, this kind of seems like maybe the things that he's saying is true about how you're coming at him for political reasons because, you know, he has different beliefs than you, and because you just personally don't like him, because you think he's a racist, you think he's a fascist, you think he's Hitler. So you're willing to bend the system, bend the laws of the very system you claim you want to uphold. Okay, you're going around the very system you're tearing down the very system you're claiming to uphold in an attempt to go at Trump. You're bending the rules, breaking laws to go at him, and then screaming democracy and the rule of law. Doesn't make sense. People are smarter than this. We're adults. We can understand when you're saying one thing but doing another. We can see it with our own two eyes. You know, people are waking up to the corruption of the US government. And Trump versus the US government is the key to that. That is the key to the awakening of everyone. Okay? This is why the most common voter now is starting to understand just how corrupt their United States government is. Because they've put their entire bias and their entire agenda on display. And they don't even care if they've made it obvious at this point. All they care about is the outcome. If they have to burn it all down to keep him from getting it, they'll do it. If they got to burn down the jungle to keep him from becoming the king of the jungle, that's what they'll do. And they have no problem with letting us burn right along with it. That's the truth. That's why I'm voting for Donald Trump 2024 for the second time. Now, as much as we talked about Trump, right? We talk about Trump a lot. I have to talk about the president of the United States, Joseph Biden. Yes, this poor excuse for a president, this sad old man that needs to be resting in a nursing home. He needs to be resident of the month at his local nursing home. He does not need to be in the Oval Office, in command of the United States Army, and have any access to any nuclear codes, okay? This is not a man that should have any of this. He should be resting. He should be in bed by 7 o'clock every day, maybe 6, okay? And that is not somebody that's fit to be the president of the United States of America. That's just the truth, okay? You can cry about it all you want. You can claim that Trump is this age and that age as well, but I think we all can tell the difference between Trump's cognitive ability and Biden's, can't we? Okay. Now, when the media defends Biden's poor memory and old age and claiming that it's just all right-wing bias, it's just right-wing extremists jumping on platforms claiming that Joe Biden is old and senile, but you know, don't use your own two eyes because he's perfectly fine, which we can all see he's not. Which is funny because the media loves to claim that Trump is old and senile, but he can't be, but he can be charged with a crime and shouldn't run the country, while claiming the exact opposite for Joe Biden, despite admitting he's too old to be charged with a crime. Make that shit make sense to me. You can't, okay? You just can't. And then you have this. This is what I mean. You have delusional anti-Trumpers that push the notion that Biden is cognitively sound, okay, while trying to claim that Trump is just, oh, well, look at Trump, though, right? Listen to this shit here.
You're talking about his age. When you listen, look at the age, of Donald Trump, which is only a couple of years younger, who's got 91 felony counts against him.
What does that have to
and
do with his
goes on
age?
Rants that make no sense. The one that he did a week ago Saturday night.
Goes on rants that make no sense?
President
What?
Trump presents as somebody that is fully with it, that has all the energy, despite the age. And we all know that people age at a different rate.
Look, I've been with him. Yes, I can tell you. When I spent 8 hours with him, you know me, Dana, I had a very direct, blunt conversation about every issue there was to discuss in Michigan. He was engaged fully on it, and we had very intense conversations. Also,
This is sad to watch because this is basically just believe what we're saying. He's fine. He's fine. Don't use your own two eyes when you see him on stage and he looks like he's out of it and he looks like he's about to fall over and he doesn't know where to stand on stage and he loses his memory and he forgets where he is when he's talking and he forgets what he's about to say. And he mistakes presidents of Egypt for the president of Mexico. Don't use your eyes, okay? Don't see that. Just listen to what we're telling you. We're telling you that he's smart, he's strong, he's the smartest person in any room he walks into. You have to just listen to us. Don't trust your eyes. This shit is sad, man. This is some real life North Korea shit, okay? This is some real life, oh, fearless leader. You can do no wrong. And I've said that shit before, but the more we see it, it's like, are these people for real? Is that lady for real? Bro, it's so insulting, man. It's so disrespectful to us as adults and as people. Just to get on a news channel, look us dead in the face, and tell us he's attentive. He asked me a lot of questions. He's intense. Come on. No, he's not. You mean to tell us that behind closed doors, he has all this energy, all this pizzazz, but every time he gets on stage, all that shit's out the window? But when he's behind closed doors with people like you, he's 20 years old again? Come on, man. Please stop insulting our intelligence like this. This is why we have to shame these people into non-existence. Shame them into oblivion, okay? These people should not be given any platforms after 2024 when Trump becomes president. I don't care. I said it. I don't care. I said it. You can claim that I want them to be fascist. No, I'm just tired of liars, blatant liars, having access to these news outlets where they can get on TV and say this bullshit directly to us and make us try to feel like we're stupid, like we don't know what we're talking about, like we can't use our own two eyes and ears. Like we're children who need to be told what we're looking at and what we're seeing and what things are and what they aren't. We're adults. We can tell what things are and what they aren't. But they don't respect our intelligence one bit. Okay? Like the media, bro, they're just too far gone. Like they're too far gone if they think that the American people can't tell which of the two presidential candidates is more capable at his old age. If they think that we can't see the flat out difference between these two men, they're just fucking flat out delusional, man. And maybe not delusional. Maybe they're just maybe there's something else. Because at this point, they're doing, like I said 1,000 times, they're doing this shit on purpose, man. And sometimes I might forget that myself, but the truth is they're doing this shit on purpose. It's not because they truly believe that he's smart, but they're flat out lying to us. They're trying to paint our reality for us. And a lot of people are going along with it. I won't be one of them. I know an old senile man when I see one, and that man needs to be in a nursing home. He has dementia. Period. Okay. Now, despite his cognitive ability and him probably not even be able to remember any of this, but while he was vice president, Joe Biden was involved. It was recently uncovered that while he was vice president, Joe Biden was involved in his brother's Medicaid fraud scheme. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Let's take a look at this shit. Let's read up on it. It says, breaking, Newly obtained documents reveal that Joe Biden, while vice president, was involved in his brother Jim's corruption scheme involving Medicare fraud, which also resulted in a patient's death in 2018 due to inadequate care, according to a Department of Health and Human Service report obtained by Politico. There's more. Hold on. Jim Biden's involvement in pursuing deals for AmeriCorps, a company involved in various aspects of healthcare, including drug rehab, lab testing, and cancer treatment. Despite lacking experience in running hospitals, Jim's understanding of the federal government, ties to labor unions, and familial connection to Joe Biden played a significant role in his pitch for these deals. During the final years of the Obama administration, Joe Biden's efforts in the fight against cancer elevated his status in the healthcare industry. And Jim used Joe's reputation and connection to help advance AmeriCorps' interests in healthcare ventures. Now, what it seems like to me is there's a pattern here. Okay, Joe Biden, 10% for the big guy. Joe Biden would be the big guy. We all know what that's about. That there's a pattern here. Joe Biden has constantly been involved in these shady businesses or shady business deals to get himself rich. Okay, we all remember the clip where when he was younger, where he said he would sell himself to the highest bidder. I mean, he said this, on video. Said he would sell himself to the highest bidder to get the job done if he had to. Basically meaning he'll do whatever he has to do to get the job done. Whatever the job may be. Now, that job doesn't always have to align with our interests, with the American people's interests, just the interests of his donors, of the bigwigs, the bureaucrats that pay him and tell him what to do. Which we know some of their names, we've mentioned them before. Now, are they going to charge him with any crime because of what he's done? No. They've already made it clear that Joe Biden is too old to be charged with the crime. So it doesn't matter what's uncovered about Joe Biden at this point. Don't you get it? Joe Biden has officially been ruled too old and senile to be charged with the crime for anything. He's basically been given immunity for any past crimes and future crimes. He can pretty much do anything he wants now. Okay? This is clearly a two-tiered system of justice. Okay? The establishment protects those who play by their rules and push their agendas. It's just that simple. If you're going to do with the establishment, the deep state, the NWO, whatever you want to call them, if you're going to do what they want you to do, no matter what party you're in, no matter what your party affiliation is, as long as you do what they ask and you do their bidding, you're good to go. And in this case, Joe Biden is good to go. He's good to break as many laws as he wants. Okay? People got to wake up, man. This shit is crazy. This shit is beyond crazy. Okay? I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are waking up to what's going on. A lot of people who weren't even as into politics or into any of this shit 2-3 years ago, a lot of them are starting to wake up and realize what's going on, and they're noticing it every day. In their everyday lives, they're noticing how this administration is negatively affecting their lives. Everybody's starting to wake up to it. Come this November, you're going to see a lot of people register to vote that you would have never thought would vote before. And they're going to be voting for somebody that you would never assume they would vote for. Okay? A lot of people that look like me. A lot of people that look like you. They're going to send a very big message to the establishment. A very, very big middle finger. And we still got a couple more months left, okay, for them to drive this knife deep into us, okay, into our backs. Just enough to piss people off a little bit more. That way they can go out and send an even bigger message come this November, okay? I would have to say vote for the person that aligns with your interests. Vote for the person that's going to make your life easier. Okay. Do the homework, do the hard work, especially if you have kids. It's worth it. This is about the future. This is about them. This is bigger than us as adults. We're on our way out soon. That's the way I see it. This is about the kids. This is about their future. We have to make sure that we're voting for people that are setting up a successful future for our kids. Not a welfare state where our kids are going to grow up and have to depend on the system to take care of them. We don't want that. We want someone that's going to level the playing field for everyone. That way we all have an opportunity. How you raise your kids is up to you. Are you going to raise them to be go-getters? Or are you going to raise them to be people that go out and work hard? That's on you. But none of that matters if there isn't an even or a level playing field for us all. And there's only one person that I see that's going to do that for us all. And that's not Joe Biden. So that's my spill. With that said, that's been episode 38, guys. It's your favorite minority from the loud majority. Make sure you guys hit like on this video. Make sure you guys hit subscribe. I dropped a donation link at the bottom of my videos. Takes a lot of time and energy to do these videos. Obviously, I got to work a 9 to 5. Then I got to come home. I got to write these episodes. A lot of time I write the episodes during my 9 to 5 and then come home and do it, and then do my recording. So, if you guys can help out, drop a donation, I'd greatly appreciate it. If not, no big deal. I'm just happy to have you guys here. I'm just happy that you guys are listening. So once again, hit a like on this video. Make sure you hit subscribe and make sure you share this video with your friends and family. Maybe they'll learn a thing or two. Okay. Once again, it's your favorite minority from the loud majority. It's touching base with the base. You guys take care. Until next time.